Hello. I'm just fixing the side here. Let's see. We're just trying to get, I always have the problems with, can we get all the things in the shot that we need to? Hi, guys. Come on in. Come on in. I hope that your October is going well. Just getting all our ingredients ready, you guys. And that is our pasta, because how boring would it be to just watch pasta water? So I thought I would do it ahead of time. Did I give you a clue as to what we're making? Anyone have guesses? Okay. Just give a couple minutes to everybody to come on in. And just as a reminder too, that you can always just pop in the chat box. That's the best way to ask questions. The best way, if you see something going down, best way to say hi. If someone could be so kind and just say hi, that would be great. That we know everything is working from the tech side of things. Hi, Sylvia. So excited. I usually work Wednesday, have to watch a replay. So a treat to attend live. I'm so glad you're here. I am we've had so funny turns of events the last 24 hours. And so I'm feeling a little frazzled, but I'm actually so grateful that we have this class today, because it cooking has this way of just re-grounding me and recentering me. And I look forward to these excited, fun, thinking about ooh, October. Okay, so we want fall. We want something maybe fun for a Halloween treat. We want, what else kind of do really. Hello. Okay. So you know what I'm going to do, just in case. Okay. Are we back? Hello. Okay. I hope that we're back. Can you guys see in here? I'm wondering, we are finishing up our yard project and deck project, and I hear hammering out there. I'm wondering if something's happening to the Wi-Fi. So can you see in here? Maybe Miss Sylvia, because you responded before, are you able to see in here? I'm going to pop on this camera just in case. Okay. Just in case we have tech issues or things going on, I'm going to do a backup recording so we can all see in here. Okay, Sylvia says we're back, so hopefully we are good. I'm also going to record this, a backup recording of a backup recording, just so we make sure we don't miss it. So happy October. I was in the middle of telling you about my, the last 24 hours, but it really doesn't matter, because what matters is how grounding it feels to be cooking and here with you. And if you're watching this later, just getting some new inspiration. I find that even when life is busy, and especially when life is busy, a lot of times we think to put off cooking, or we don't have time, but there are so many things that are little things, little tiny recipes that you can do that can kind of bring the joy back, or be oh yeah, remember this, or something new to try. So that's my hope in today's class. It's very October-y. So our recipes today are going to be, we're going to do some apple cider gummies, which are live now in your dashboards. So these are healthy gummies. These are actually gut healing gummies, and they're immune boosting gummies. And they're fun to make. And if you have any little people in your life, I'm sure they will very much appreciate and be into this, as is Noah. my toddler. So we're going to do that. And if you don't have any types of like little candy molds or things that you could do, these also double for like chocolate molds. If you wanted to do something like making your own holiday treats, even different holidays, the hearts would be great for Valentine's Day. It's just like a little fun thing. I just got these on Amazon. They're like a pack of like, there's 6 of them in there. And I think it was like $12-ish, 12 to 15. So they can be a fun thing to try and experiment with, especially if you like gummies or gummy candy and you like this recipe. If you want to try the recipe before investing in other tools, some of you may already have these on hand. You can also pour this mixture into like a square baking dish and cut almost like Jell-O. You know, you cut them into little cubes. So you can try that, or you can do like cookie cutters into those, into that flat pan as well. So it's totally up to you. You can try this out even if you don't have those. But if you find you like it, gummies are a great thing. And we're going to talk through like the different flavors and combinations you could do, why these are healthier, et cetera, how to keep and store them. So a little something fun. My thought was like a little Halloween treat, but upgraded, one you can feel great about. And then we're going to do a creamy pumpkin sage pasta with fried kale. So this is going to pull in, I mean, I know that pumpkin is everywhere, but it is actually one of, not only is it seasonal, but is actually one of the healthiest foods you can eat in the fall. It has so much natural fiber. It has vitamin A. It has the carotene in it. And it's just really good for your digestive system. So, and it's creamy and it's delicious when it's paired with some sort of cream. So today we're going to pair it with a coconut milk to do the creamy part of the pasta. However, you can also use cream or milk. You could try almond milk. I would suggest a milk that's slightly on the thicker side of things. So like I wouldn't use my homemade cashew milk because it's pretty thin and close to watery. But if you have a slightly thicker milk, I feel like that would probably do better. So we're going to do it with coconut milk, making this pasta entirely dairy-free, nut-free, gluten-free, egg-free, all the frees, but tastes really good and tastes really decadent. And we're going to do some fried kale, which is, I think, always delicious. And it's actually the quickest way to get a vegetable into a meal, especially a warm meal. It cooks the fastest and it's just so easy. You know, if you have kale on hand, if you're doing smoothies or other things, it's just really easy to tear a couple leaves and add it to kind of like the top, almost like a little crouton or garnish to whatever you're doing. So those are the 2 recipes we're going to do today. And as you saw, I already pre-cooked the pasta because that part, we have done it a million times before, I'm sure. But I did want to show you the kind because I know somebody's going to ask this. So I'm doing a green lentil penne for this pasta, and that's what I had already cooked. I like doing like a lentil pasta, especially if the sauce is more decadent and creamy. These are heartier and there's also some protein in there. So especially if you're thinking about it being more of a complete meal, there's no meat in this dish. You could always add it on the side or do like turkey bacon or bacon on top. So we have lots of options. It's always what we want. Lots of options, lots of different ways to customize this to however you want. So let's get started. We're going to jump right in with the gummies. So for the gummies, all you need are 3 things. It's going to be 1 cup of liquid. So in this case, we're doing fresh pressed apple cider here. And we've been testing batches with Noah. That's how I know they're good. And so you just need 1 cup of liquid. Now you could swap this in and out with a different type if you don't love apple cider. We also tried it with like a tart cherry juice, and I put a little elderberry syrup in it, which is really great for the immune system. So those made like a purple one. The only juices you want to be careful for with these gummies are like a pineapple juice or a mango because the gelatin won't set. But anything else you have, I've also been really wanting to try it with like a green juice, maybe more so for me to eat. I think that would be really good. So what you're going to do, so it's 1 cup of juice. We're going to do a 1.5 tablespoons of grass-fed beef gelatin. So a lot of people are like, what is that? So think similar to collagen, and collagen is talked about a lot these days. It is very healing for your gut lining. And doing grass-fed beef gelatin is it's like a health food. It's like a supplement. Whereas when you look at the actual stuff of like something in an actual Jello, or most gelatin that is used is very highly processed and stuff you probably don't really want to put in your body. So this is like a really cool thing to kind of have on hand. I got mine at Thrive Market. You can also get them on Amazon. Land of Lakes is another very popular brand. You just want to look for grass-fed. What am I doing? I need to do the juice boost. I'm getting like so into this. So it's just a fun way. And again, if you're into this, you can make all different types of like gummies with this. So first I'm going to pour in the juice into I'm just using like a Pyrex measuring cup, because what I want to do first, this is a hot little tip, is you're going to measure it out. So it's a tablespoon and a half. And I'm just sprinkling it kind of right over the top. There's a tablespoon. And what this is going to do is this is called blooming the gelatin. So this is like a real food version of Jello, right? So this is called blooming it, and it actually rehydrates the powder so that it won't hopefully clump as much. So we're just going to give this like a minute or two as it's sitting here, and I can get the rest ready. So you're going to want like a small saucepan as well. By the way, both of these recipes are up in your cooking club. I can't remember if I said that, if you would like to follow along. So I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of honey. And if you follow me on, you know I love, this is my favorite right now, the Beekeeper's Naturals. This is their superfood honey, which has propolis, which is amazing immune support. So as we're thinking into the fall and winter, has bee pollen and it has royal jelly. So these are like superfoods of the superfoods. These are like the bees' own superfoods. And I love trying to incorporate them and use them as much as I can. I have their like throat spray, but doing their honey, like even a little bit of, if you're going to have a little honey in your tea or any other like baked goods, it's like, why not have those little extra doses? But any honey will work. Raw honey is great. A local honey is great. You just maybe want to stay away from the more processed honey, just kind of like standard conventional honey. It should be liquid form, not crystallized. So I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons. Now this is flexible. You could add, I would say these gummies are not super sweet, but because we have the apple cider, there's a little sweetness in that. And adding a little extra honey is great. If you are making these maybe for people who already are used to regular candy, or there's, you know, you tend to like things sweeter, or it's more of like an actual treat or dessert, then I would maybe do like 3 teaspoons of honey. And these actually make a lot. So we will definitely be able to fill 2 of these trays, probably 3 or 4. So we have the honey in here. Now I am just going to turn the burner on, and we're going to go on like a low heat, medium low heat. I'm going to start melting the honey, and then I'm going to pour this bloomed liquid. Just going to start whisking it a little bit, and then I'm going to pour it over the heat and whisk it. And so hopefully you guys can see as it warms. I'm actually going to switch to a whisk here too. As it warms, the gelatin and the liquid will start to melt, and it will kind of turn into its own very smooth liquid. So we're just going to wait for the heat to kind of heat up there a little bit. Okay. Any questions on gelatin or the gummies, different flavor combinations? You can add things in. The only note I would say is that you want to make sure you have 1 cup of liquid. So if you're doing like an elderberry syrup, then subtract, 2 teaspoons of the other liquid, because it is a very specific measurement in order to get the gelatin to gel. Okay. So this is starting. So that blooming process helps it not get clumpy. And the first couple times I did this, I skipped that step and it came out really clumpy and just kind of gross. So don't do what I did. It's worth it. It smells so good. So you can also add in like any other like spices if you want. You could add in, I might actually try some extra cinnamon in here just to see. We're making it now, might as well. So yeah, this is just it's like healing for the gut lining, especially when you're using a honey that has some extra little superfoods in it. You can take something like a fun fall treat and really just upgrade it so that there is parts of it that really do serve the body, right? And it's not about being perfect, of course. Like there's going to be candy around and other things, but I always think it is nice to like play and try and test and try some other things out, because it doesn't, like candy doesn't always have to be the only option. You know, a lot of times we just go 0 to 60 of like it's no candy at all, or it's like the crappy Halloween candy, instead of like, what about a really good dark chocolate bar with good quality natural normal peanut butter with sea salt on top? Like that is amazing tasting, you know? And a lot of times people forget about all the options and things there are in between that would not take your body down 3 levels, but actually would help you still feel really good, and you get the joy and experience of having something that you love. Okay. So I think we are all set. This is actually a pretty quick process where it is all mixed through, heated through, got a little cinnamon in there. It's gonna be nice. I'm just gonna put a pot holder down so you can see what we're doing here. Move this. All right, so we have got this. If you're using like a pan that has lidded sides, what is this called? A saucepan, who knows, with a pouring spout. You guys are probably laughing. Whatever it's called, you could pour it straight in here. With getting like this, here's this kit that came, my Amazon, it came with like its own storage box. It had like 6 different things. It also came with a dropper, which is really cool. You could use like a baster if you have that as well. But since these are smaller molds, the dropper is actually really helpful. So, and it comes with like its own cleaning brush too. So I'm just going to suck up some of the liquid. You can all see. Okay. So I'm just going to pour it in, and I like to go all the way up to the top like this. And I will not make you watch me fill the entire thing, but it's actually like very simple. So this much liquid, you may even want to try like a half batch at first to see, because this will make, I just wanted to show you how much this will make a lot of these like molds, these sheets. Okay. And you can get them, you can find them in like almost any different type of shape that you want. I think the hearts are kind of cute. I will say the ones that are too small, like these little gummy bear ones, sometimes make it harder to like taste anything, because they're like, it's so small and so thin, where these hearts are like, you can like bite into it. That makes sense. So yeah, so some other flavor combinations, it really just matters what liquid you want to use. I've seen people do it with like kombucha. I've seen green juice. You could do, yeah, you just kind of want to stay away from like the heavily citrus juices. You could do like a beet juice, any like sort of like fresh pressed juice that you love, you could find. Let's see. This is so soothing, by the way. I'm like, I feel like it's like watching one of those videos where you're like watching to the music. It's so calming. Also just like a fun little activity. So again, I will not make you watch me do this. in its entirety, but I just want to show you, like, I still have almost all of this liquid in here, and we've already almost filled up one entire sheet. Okay, does this seem like something you guys might try at home? It's just kind of a fun little thing. I was trying to think of, like, okay, holiday ones, like you could do Hanukkah themed ones. You could do with like blueberry juice or pomegranate juice. You could do Christmas ones, maybe green juice for that. And like a beet juice or the elderberry syrup. Tart cherry juice was really good. Tart cherry juice is actually really great for helping sleep, promote sleep. So sometimes people take like an ounce of it at night as like a little shot. Okay, now I'm just filling the top. Okay. I'm going to keep this over here because, again, I promise I will not. So this is how they go. I am doing it on a plate because now we're going to put it into the fridge. It will solidify pretty quick, like really within like 5 minutes or so, but I like to keep it in there for at least 10 minutes and then pop them out when you're ready. To store them, they will keep pretty great if you keep them in a sealed container in the fridge. So just know that. You can also keep them in this gummy thing as well, but have them covered. Otherwise, they will kind of dry up and dry out. Okay, I'm going to put these in the fridge real quick. Okay, and now, so I'll do these later. Don't worry. So now, any questions on those? Just kind of something fun. A little Halloween October treat. Let's move on to the pumpkin pasta. So for this pasta, here are the ingredients. You will see the recipe for this in your dashboard. We're just waiting on the picture, which is going to be this picture. We're photographing it. The recipe is that new. You guys get like the sneakiest peek, the first peek into everything that I'm like making and doing. So, okay. So for this process, we'll talk about the ingredients here real quick. Get my cast iron skillet out. I'm going to go on like a medium-low heat just to start. So the ingredients for this, so 4 cups dried pasta, that's about 1 box if you're going by the box, 3/4 cup pureed pumpkin, right? We're going to do 1/4 of an onion plus 2 cloves of garlic if you want. Onion and garlic are always optional to me, coming from a person who used to have SIBO and all the FODMAPs. A lot of times they cause digestive issues for people. So no, you can always leave them out if you need to. I think it brings a little flavor and depth specifically to this sauce and kind of helps cut the creaminess of the pumpkin and the coconut milk combined. So I'm going to do 1/4 of it. Garlic is totally optional. If you love it, add it in. 4 to 6 leaves of kale, which we have here. 1 tablespoon of gluten-free flour or rice flour. Look at my giant bag of rice flour. This is what I use to make the gluten-free sourdough. I need to get some more. Go through it fast. 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper, and then 6 leaves of fresh sage, more or less. You can add in what you want. So to start, we're going to do the onion first. I have my saucepan on like medium-low heat over there, just as it's warming up. So we're just going to do 1/4 of an onion, so like this. You can add more if you want. You could do a half. Sometimes I hate recipes that call for 1/4 of an onion. So I'm like, what? I really want to wrap these up, but you know, yes, you can. Up to you, up to you. Okay, so we're going to do 1/4 of an onion. These guys over here. Here we go. And I'm going to dice it small just so it cooks quickly. This whole sauce is going to be pureed, so it actually doesn't matter too much. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut. It's all going to be blended anyways. We just want it for a little bit of flavor. Okay, so I'm going to add this to my pan, and I just washed the cast iron last night, so to season it, you put olive oil and some sea salt on it, so it already has olive oil in the pan. So I know some of you are going to ask. Okay, so we've got that. And again, the garlic would be optional. Let's see if I have one that's easy to open. I do. Why not, you know? Let's do the extra version, the full thing. So again, if you're short on time, you can skip this step. And this is actually like a very quick recipe to come together for a busy night. Yeah, Sylvia, the leftovers. She says, can the leftovers be frozen? The leftovers of the pasta or the gummies? I mean the gummies frozen. If you're thinking of the gummies, I have never tried freezing. I know people they'll put their mold into the freezer just to like set, but just for a few minutes. I've never tried it frozen. So if you do, let me know. I'm like, I feel like that maybe could work because then you're gonna have to heat it up anyways. But if you're thinking about freezing in the molds and keeping them in the freezer, you could do that. Yeah, let's see. So Sylvia, let me know what you're thinking or which recipe. I'm guessing it's the candy molds. As soon as I finish this call, I'm going to do the rest of the molds because it's just easier than having that liquid sit there. But yeah, let me know. Okay. So I just did 2 small cloves of garlic. We're just going to saute, a quick saute right here. Yeah, and as that's going, we're going to do the crispy kale. So just pulling out the middle stem. You could keep it in for this recipe. I just tend to pull it out. To want to pull it out. This. Yes. Oh, okay. Sylvia said the pasta. I was thinking of the pasta. I might double or triple the recipe for the sauce, but I'll have a better idea once I see the whole recipe. Oh yeah. So as a general, like the overarching, maybe would that help if I tell you the overarching steps? The first step is sauteing the garlic and onion. We're going to do that now. We are going to tear the kale, add that to the hot pan so it will kind of get hot and crispy. We're going to pull the kale out, put it on the side. Then we are going to put the rest of the ingredients into a blender. So the onion, the garlic, everything else, the sage, the flour, the milk, the pumpkin, mix it all together, and that becomes the sauce. So let me think through this. The sauce, depending what type of milk you use, you could freeze it. Yeah, you could freeze it in individual cubes. The only thing would be maybe if you're using like a heavy cream or an actual cream for the sauce. I don't know how that would, if that would impact how it sort of defrosts into a meal, but I think that it would be fine. There's nothing that's making me think like high alert, like, no, do not do that. So if you try it, let us know. How about that? I think it should work. Yeah. Okay, so also just a note on this kale, you can do, I'm doing like slightly bigger pieces here. You can also, let me stir these so they don't burn. You can also do like a more finely chopped kale like this. If you just want to kind of have almost like crispy, like a crispy topping of them. But remember, whatever you do, the kale will shrink a lot, especially as it's cooked. So maybe we'll just do both. So I just kind of want something that's like a little bit in the middle. I don't want too big. I don't want too small. I want it to be a garnish, but I actually want like enough kale in each bowl so that it kind of counts as our vegetable, that you're not having to, it's like a one pot meal. You're not having to make something like on the side. Okay, so now we're going to do the kale into the skillet. I always wish I could like switch camera angles, you know, like show you like, here's what it is. Maybe as we go, right? Okay, we're gonna put the kale in here. And I'm just gonna drizzle a little extra olive oil on the kale because I did not have a ton in the pan. So we're just gonna let this kind of cook up together for a couple minutes. You know, the kale's really quick. The onion and garlic, we just want to caramelize a little bit so it's not that intense raw taste. Maybe it's just me, but I don't love that. Okay, we're gonna get our sage ready. So in the recipe, I say 6 leaves sage. You're welcome to use more if you love it. Some people don't love it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And again, I'm just gonna give it a rough chop. You can also always add extra, like a garnish on top. Fried sage is delicious too. Maybe I'll try that. I'm gonna make a little room in the pan. Let's see if we can fry some sage for a little crispy crumble garnish. Let's see. I'm just putting the leaves in whole. Okay. Okay, looking good over here. I'm just going to do a quick chop here of our sage leaves. Again, this is going into the blender, so it does not have to be perfect. And then we'll get the blender. I'm going to start measuring. There we go. Okay, so, yeah. Let's open this guy. So 3/4 cup pumpkin. And again, you, like with this recipe, when you make it, you can decide on your own. Like, do you want more pumpkin? Do you want a little bit less? Do you really like the taste of the sage? Or do you want a little bit less of that? You can also swap the sage out. If you don't love sage, or you want something a little bit more like simple, you can use fresh basil instead. And with the kale, if you don't love kale, or whoever you're cooking doesn't love kale, you can also do like broccoli, like a roasted broccoli or a quick like broiled broccoli. That'd be a really easy swap. Or cauliflower pairs really well with pumpkin. So just other ways to do veggies. String beans, green beans would also be great, also very seasonal. Okay, so that's 3/4 cup of the pumpkin. Now we're going to do a 1 1/4 cup milk. So again, you can use milk of your choice. So I'm going to use this coconut milk. It's pretty well shaken up. 1 1/4 cup. There we go. All right, we're going to add our sage in. Can you guys see okay? Okay, we'll do a little salt and pepper. So about 1 teaspoon of each. I love the pepper. Let me stir this up. Ooh, our fried sage leaves are coming along. Okay. We need our flour. So the flour just acts as like a slight thickener here. So we'll just need a small amount, just a tablespoon of flour. And any type of like gluten-free flour would work. Or if you're not gluten-free, any type of, an all-purpose flour would be totally fine too. Okay, we've got salt and pepper, sage, our rice flour, gluten-free flour. We have our milk, which is coconut milk in this case, and our pumpkin. So I think we are good. Yeah, I'm just gonna scrape this down a little on the top. And go blend and mix. And we got our fried sage for the end. It's nice and crispy. Oh, we forgot the onion and garlic. I'm just like looking at it like, oh yeah, I remember that. So I'm just gonna pull off the kale here. So we can put the onion and garlic in. Again, this is the optional step, right? You could just leave the onion and garlic out, and actually the sauce comes together very, very quickly. And now I'm even wondering what it would taste like if you just blended the kale right in. Maybe you wouldn't even notice. Okay. We will have some pieces of it in there. Okay, so now don't forget the garlic and onion. And a few specks of kale. All right. Okay, and I can see a question over there. Katie was asking about if you don't like pumpkin, could you do squash? Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely do squash. If you have cooked squash to throw it in, you could do that. You could do a can of pureed squash as well. Okay, so I'm just going to blend up this sauce for us. So once you, in like a normal recipe, so we have our noodles here. Okay, so they'd be like warm because you just cooked them. Then all we're gonna do, I can bring it over. So much messier than the Food Network, right? Okay, I don't know if you can all see this. Here you go. They like people like cleaning it as they go. It's like so tidy. Not real life, you know? Okay, so we've got our sauce here. So you can just see. So all you would do is just kind of pour it over the top. Like this. And I'm just going to start small. We can always add more. That seems like plenty. I do not have the full 4 cups of pasta in here, so just know that too. This looks so good. And the kale, just so you know, the kale doesn't really fully blend anyway, so it doesn't matter if you do get a little bit in there. Let's put it in a bowl so you can see here. And it's up to you actually how you'd like to plate this. Some people might prefer to put the kale like on the bottom, like this. You can put some on the bottom, some on the top. But look how pretty that is. It's like, looks like restaurant style. Pumpkin sage, creamy pumpkin sage pasta. Here we go. You could do some kale on top if you'd like. I'm going to do our crispy sage. Crumble it this way. Optional to do some Parmesan cheese if you'd like as well. Extra salt and pepper. Let's try it. It's really good. So good. Okay. Can you guys see? I know what I'm having for lunch. Okay, any questions on those? We talked through the swap, so you could use squash instead of pumpkin. You could do basil instead of the sage. You could do different veggie instead of the kale. We talked about broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts would be great, green beans. Just something where I kind of do like the idea of like at the bottom of the bowl, unless you were going to chop the kale pretty finely, and then it would be like a little bit more crispy on top. So that is what we've got today. I wanted to show you the gummies because now it's been a few minutes before we go. And I don't know if they're fully set, but enough set maybe to show you one where you just pop it. I'm just going slow because I know it's still setting, but there you go. So cute. Little hearts. Okay, so yes, both of your recipes are up and ready for you. I hope these reinvigorate you and give you some like fun things to play with this next month. Happy Halloween, happy October. Thank you for being here, whether it's live or you're watching this later. And let me know what you think. I always love any like feedback you guys have from the recipes or what you're loving. Okay. I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.